It's black to move and mate in 2. This is the puzzle. Actually, this is the solutions video to the 10-second challenge puzzle. So if you haven't already looked at this and tried to figure out the solution on your own, feel free to pause the video and see if you can find the solution. So again, black to move, mate in 2. So how do we go about thinking about solving this puzzle? Well, we want to look at things like checks. So how many checks do we have? We have quite a few checks here. And you're probably thinking, how am I supposed to look at all these checks in 10 seconds? Yeah, I know that does sound ridiculous, but we can eliminate some of them, right? Because they are ridiculous. Like this one right here. Okay, we're just hanging the queen. We're not even going to bother looking at that. This one right here, you hang the knight. And sometimes, you hang a piece. I can take it 2 different ways here. And, that ends up being the solution. But we just don't have enough firepower over here, okay? So when we only have 3 pieces left on the board and you're going to give one of them away, don't expect to checkmate your opponent's king with just 1 piece unless you have a lot of help from the opponent's pieces blocking the king in, like a smothered mate or something like that. That's not what's going on though. Okay, so hanging a piece, one of these 2 pieces, is probably not the solution. So you don't want to be looking at those checks first. You want to look at forcing checks. So look at reasonable checks that don't hang a piece. So like this check and this check here. All right, so we have 2 reasonable checks, and the first one right here allows the king some flexibility on how to escape that check. The other one, on the other hand, moving the queen over here, cuts off a lot more squares to the king, so that forces the king over to g4. So that's the better check out of the 2, and that's the one you should be looking at first. All right, so first move is that we're going to analyze here is queen to h1 check, and the king goes to g4. Now we need to do a follow-up check. So what can we do for a follow-up check? We have these pawns here that can move up and deliver check. We have a knight that can check here, but remember this bishop's just guarding that square. Now either one of these pawn checks the king can escape, so that's not going to be a mate in 2. Okay, and they might lead to mate, and that's fine. I'm not saying they're bad moves. They might be just fine moves, okay? But if you want to find the quickest checkmate, it's a good exercise to find the quickest checkmate, then we want to also consider the queen coming down and look at these checks right here. Of course, this one just hangs the queen if we go to queen to h4. So if we look here at queen to h5, notice that it's cutting off that diagonal, those squares there. And so it appears the king can maybe only have 1 possible escape square, but the knight is covering that square. So that is indeed checkmate. That is the solution to the puzzle. Hopefully you found this helpful, and we'll see you next time.